Hello, I'm Lieutenant Commander Dave Hack, bringing you this week's AFRICOM update from Camp Lemonnier, home of Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa. CJTF-HOA has been here in Djibouti since 2002. Its mission? To support partner nations in East Africa through military-to-military engagements and conduct crisis response personnel recovery operations. And leading that charge is Brigadier General Wayne Grigsby, who joins us now. Sir, thank you for taking time to speak with us. You've only been on the job here in Djibouti for just a couple of months. What's your early assessment of the challenges and opportunities?
Well, as I told over the weekend, as I talked to Ambassador Rice, I explained to her that if you didn't have a Djibouti or a CJTF-HOA, you would be looking for one to allow us to execute our national security strategy here and a long ways away from home. So sitting in Djibouti is really the new normal. And the opportunity it provides is, it's not the new normal as we know it as far as providing security for our threatened embassies. It's really the new normal on how we're going to operate as a DoD in supporting national security strategy of our country. So sitting in Djibouti, we have the joint team. We have Army, Air Force, Navy, sailors, Marines. We have the entire joint team. We also are working for and assisting the interagency. So here in Djibouti, I assist Ambassador Posse within the interagency, within the country team, within USAID, which other three-letter agencies. I'm here to assist her in executing her mission. We also are working with the intergovernmental, with all the countries, Djibouti and all the troop contributing nations. I'm working with them to build this team effort. And then most importantly, all the multinational teammates. And that's all of the troop contributing nations and the countries within East Africa. So here, we don't have all of the resources that I'm used to having. As a brigade commander during the surge, I had something like 7 battalions, 42 companies. When I open up that hood and I look underneath of it, there's not much here. But this is the way we're going to operate in the future. In order for us to execute our mission of enabling our troop contributing teams, enabling our regional actors to neutralize violent extremists, we have to build this team. We have to build this team within the GEM environment. We have to build a network within the environment to enable them to build that capacity so they can solve their problems within East Africa.
You call HOA a leadership factory, and you seem to be very proud of your team. Can you tell us more about that?
So I truly believe that Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa is a leadership factory, and we build leaders first. So what do I mean by that? And that should be overarching what all of our senior leaders are trying to get at. We're trying to build leaders first. So what does that mean? So let's say that we're going out to do a mill-to-mill engagement in Uganda. Right? Let's say that's going to happen, and it's going to be load and residue stoppage of the 240 Bravo. Okay, so we're going to do that task, but the way we do that task, and the way we prepare for that task, and the way we get ready to do that, we're developing future leaders on. By going through that, we're developing them to make them better. Because this organization is not about everything that you do right here in the current piece. What this organization is about is how many leaders do we develop that comes out of this that continue on. And they go out and look at it as far as developing leaders and becoming more focused on that. Because what I found out is if you focus your effort really on making sure each one of these guys on this team get better through their deployment here, they're challenged, they have goals, they come out of here better leaders, then our institution as we know it is better. We get two things out of it. We just don't get one, we get two. We get all the tasks that we're supposed to accomplish underneath of it. Those all happen. But the way you do that develops leaders.
Again, General, thank you for taking time to speak with us. The reason that we're coming to you from HOA this week is because AFRICOM is conducting its first ever command inspection of the subordinate command. More than a dozen inspectors from the headquarters are here inspecting everything from operations, medical, how they process awards, hire civilians, run the armory, and much, much more. Among the team, AFRICOM's new Chief of Staff, Major General Michael Kingsley, who explains why inspections like this are so important.
With this Joint Task Force, Horn of Africa is an organization that has a lot of turnover. And so we look at processes and continuity as our primary focus to ensure that this organization has the continuity to last over the rotations that they have all the time.
Well, there's a few things that happen. The first thing we do is we leave a draft report with the team here so they can look at the findings and observations and they can start to work on them. And the first thing they're going to do is look and say, do they agree with the report, or there's some, there might be some give and take where they come back to us and say, well, this is actually the real story. And we'll kind of go back and forth. And then in about 2 weeks, we'll publish a final report. And the final report will have the findings and observations that it's their requirement to work to fix those over the next 60 days. Fortunately, we're already fixing some things. I've told the team to go ahead and make every effort you can to help while you're here and to establish processes, assist with processes, so there's fewer things to do as they go forward.
The inspection is expected to last 1 week. Time now to check out the headlines. It's a first for some soldiers from the Republic of Guinea Armed Forces, graduating from their first ever combat life savings course offered by the U.S. Army. More than 20 Guinea soldiers now have the know-how to save lives on the battlefield. While there, the first ID soldiers also taught courses in search procedures, convoy operations, and battle drills. Meantime, some Marines in Uganda are taking a training timeout to help some needy kids. The Marines have been in Uganda for several weeks now, training the Uganda People's Defense Force, but try, they say, to visit the school at least once a month. And finally, the maritime exercise Saharan Express 2014 is now wrapping up off the coast of West Africa. Over the past week, 11 ships from 11 different nations have been working together to hone their skills in security operations, medical response, and information sharing. There are 4 express exercises run by U.S. Naval Forces Africa and U.S. 6th Fleet throughout the year. Our African partners specifically expressed this type of collaboration. To find out more about these stories, log on to our website, AFRICOM.mil. AFRICOM is making headlines in Stuttgart, and to tell us more about that, our media chief, Benson, is standing by with more. Ben?
That's right, Dave. One of our local newspapers, Stuttgarter Nachrichten, recently published an extensive multimedia feature online about AFRICOM's support to the counter-Lord's Resistance Army operations. This story was also carried in their print edition with the headline, "The Ghost Hunters from Stuttgart." Stuttgarter Nachrichten was the first German news outlet to cover an AFRICOM operation in depth like this. Last year we saw a number of German news reports that concentrated on counter-terrorist strikes in Africa, particularly by remotely piloted aircraft. This reporting misrepresented the efforts of this command. Although we worked extensively with a number of the journalists, frustratingly this reporting completely missed the central point that we are working in cooperation with African states and hand in hand with our allies and partners to help Africa with some very real and serious security challenges. The current piece, produced by Dr. Christoph Reisinger, Stuttgarter Nachrichten's chief editor, is profoundly different from this previous reporting. He concentrated on AFRICOM's support of African armed forces in their fight against Joseph Kony's Lord's Resistance Army. After interviewing our commander, General Rodriguez, Reisinger flew to Congo's Dungu to speak with U.S. soldiers stationed there about their mission. Reisinger notably reported on the crimes of the LRA and spoke with the victims. This appreciation for the suffering caused by the insecurity, together with the coverage of the strategic efforts of AFRICOM, gave the report both depth and a personal connection for the reader. Stuttgarter Nachrichten's report was praised by many readers as well as other German news outlets. We hope this story will provide our host nation citizens and our neighbors in Stuttgart a better understanding of who we are and what we do here. I recommend looking at this excellent online story even if you don't read German. We're also getting a full translation for the AFRICOM staff.
Interesting stuff. Thanks for the update back there from the headquarters in Stuttgart, Ben. The closing ceremony has been officially held, bringing the exercise Flintlock 2014 to a close. For a look back at this important partnership-building exercise, AFRICOM Public Affairs Lieutenant JG Amy Forsyth files this report.
Spirited cadence and teamwork kept motivation high despite temperatures soaring into the triple digits on most days. Special Operations Forces from North America and Europe collaborated in providing training on small unit tactics, live fire ranges, counterterrorism techniques, and basic medical assistance for nearby communities.
Every year the scope of the exercise and also the number of participants grows, and I think this Flintlock in particular will lay the groundwork in terms of an expanded training and also expanded involvement amongst U.S. and Western partner nations.
For many of the troops from African partner nations, it's a chance to learn something new, increase awareness of potential threats in their region, and bond with comrades.
So it is a collective responsibility. So the countries participating, the Nigerian soldiers, the Chadians, and the Nigerians, together with other nations, you understand, is for good, and it's going to be good to join hands together and fight terrorism.
Leadership from participating countries, 22 nations in total, attended the closing ceremony in Niger's capital city of Niamey, March 9th.
Soldiers are the same, no matter where they come from. But sometimes you just have to work together to see it. I always look forward to the candid and objective observations of our multilateral friends. We have as much to learn from you as you do from us. In many cases, we tend to learn more.
Military leaders here have touted the successes of this year's training exercise and can see measurable improvements in interoperability and cooperation, which will lead to more opportunities that they can build on for years to come. Reporting from Niamey, Niger, I'm Lieutenant JG Amy Forsyth.
This past week, the AFRICOM headquarters celebrated International Women's Day with a special event at the Kelly Theater. The event highlighted the numerous contributions of women throughout history. To paraphrase an email from General Hummer, if you missed it, you really missed it. But for those who didn't miss it, we asked them our question of the week. Tell us your thoughts on International Women's Day.
Today's event helps to shed a spotlight on the issues and the struggles that women face every day.
Okay. There are so many places that women have such a long way to go to be receive equal opportunities, equal consideration. I mean, as Americans, we receive so many things, but as AFRICOM employee, the women in Africa are severely behind anybody anywhere else in the United States, or any place else in comparison to the United States. And having the opportunity to raise awareness of women and the importance of women as a human being is, I don't know, just absolute. There's no words for it. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I have to be here to be part of it. So
I think events like this increase the awareness of women's issues on two different ways. One, it allows the perspective to come from the women themselves. A lot of times plans, programs, and rules and regulations are sometimes not written in the perspective of the person that's supposed to serve and or protect. So to hear it from women, to me, makes it very important. And secondly, anytime you have an opportunity to have awareness from firsthand experience, it kind of brings me back to my heroes, being my grandmother and my mother. So I'm always appreciative of things like this.
There are parts of the world where survival comes only by the hands and hearts of the people who strive for it. But without proper knowledge, that survival is sometimes threatened. A group of professionals from here at CJTF-HOA shared some of their knowledge during a trauma care training workshop. Tech Sergeant Gianna Jaworski has that story.
A team of medical professionals from CJTF-HOA taught local health officials new medical techniques during a 2-day trauma care course at the World Health Organization headquarters in Djibouti City.
We're trying to raise awareness on their ability to treat wounds if they find anybody.
During the course, students learned shock treatment, extreme weather injuries, airway obstruction, and casualty evacuation in a tactical environment. Care under fire adds an extra dimension when treating patients, a point driven home to the students who practice using individual body armor.
Very heavy, and I can't imagine someone carrying that heavy and walking and going.
The visit was more than just medical training. It was a chance to work with another nation's military.
We always had an impression that they are very far from people, but now it's very interesting. This is very concrete. They are like us. U.S. Army are like everybody. We are talking frankly. We are talking friendly.
That kind of positive first impression is a big part of what CJTF-HOA is all about, strengthening partnerships throughout East Africa. Reporting for Combined Joint Task Force, Horn of Africa Public Affairs, I'm Tech Sergeant Gianna Jaworski.
It was a very busy week across the AOR, and that's just fine by our amazing photographers. Without all that action, what would they shoot? We can all be proud of our troops and what they do day in and day out, and we've captured it all for you as we travel through the lens. That's all for this edition of AFRICOM Update. Be sure to follow us on our website as well as on Facebook and Twitter, and let us know what you think. Again, thanks for watching, and so long from Djibouti.